Yeah. Okay. Oh, there they are. There we go. Okay. So, things just got a little change up on us. We are going to be starting. We'll be starting virtual according to the township meeting last night. If you were there and you stayed on after the tennis recognition, we will be going virtual starting Wednesday next week. All the virtual, and then according to Marion County, we can't go back to school in any format till after January 15th. That's the school. I don't know. That district needed a couple Monday and Tuesday, I guess, to get ISTEP retakes done or something. I don't know. They said. I listened to the whole meeting, but regardless, they said the positivity rate for high school kids who've been contact traced and then gotten tested is sitting at 18% right now. So that means all of your little friends who get kicked out of school, like I know happened today in a class and whatnot, 1 in 5 of them is positive at a minimum. So like last Friday, there was a kid sitting where Jasmine's seated right now on the Zoom today. He goes, it's just period 2. He goes, Mr. Brunette, I have every single COVID symptom possible. I can't taste anything. I can't smell anything. He goes, I have a high fever. I've got a massive headache, and I feel like I can't breathe. I'm like, just go ahead and get off the Zoom and try to rest. Maybe go take a bath, or something. I'm like, your life is more important than whatever we're going to talk about right now. Jeez. So, if you start experiencing anything like that in the next 24 hours or 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, all the way up to the next about 72 to 96 hours, please be safe and smart, okay? Good. For all you people at home in your comfy houses and your cool little nooks like Miss Brooke Brown, okay? Yes, maybe you heard my conversation, but those should be comfortable spots because you'll be coming back exactly one day, next Monday, unless anything crazy happens. So we're going to get going. I actually have an activity to start class with. So fun. And then we'll get going because I don't want to waste a bunch of time. All right, so I'm going to share the screen here. Second screen that's on the board for you Zoomers, those in class. It's pretty simple. Just put like 1 through 6 on a scrap piece of paper, or you can even use your computer. I don't really care that much. Okay, we're going to see what you guys remember from Gestern-Tag. That's yesterday. Twice. Yesterday day. See if you watched your video or not. Vincent, what's going on, bud? What are you doing? Huh? You cut your finger? Yeah. Are you bleeding? No. Okay. Trying to eliminate the spread of bacteria around here, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Go. So we're going to look at the first one here. Jill. Jill is joining us. Not in person, but on the Zoomers. All right. So I'm going to put an image on the board just to explain in about 10 words or so what's going on. Cool? Here we go. Here's number 1. Oh, it says the political and social system in France. Can't see that because the Zoom people are in the way. So 10 to 15 words. Tell us what's going on. If you can't see the board, I would say, come on up and see the board. But nope, that's not going to probably be possible right now. Okay, let's go. Do we have anyone that wants to share their hand? What's going on here? Lucy McJuggins. Good. So, taxation of the third estate by the first and second estate. And what is this person not capable of doing? Getting up, actually rising up in society, right? No social mobility for those in the third estate. All right, let's go to image number 2. Ho, ho! This is a big one. Like this. Luella's in the waiting room. Should I let her in? I did. Nice person. Griffin, I see you over there. Don't get to Quinn status. I ever showed you this? Did you go to Italy with Quinn? Do you know that he bought me the snow globe that I still have? This is the fake. This is the lean power pizza where it never snows and yet it's snowing in the snow globe. The lean power pizza. His brother bought me this. How sick is that? This is what I'm showing everybody. My lean tower of Pisa snow globe that Griffin Moore's brother bought me a long time ago, maybe like 6 years ago. I didn't go to Italy with him. He dipped out on multiple days of school and all of Thanksgiving and didn't participate in his video group project, so I told him he had to bring me a souvenir home, and so he did. All right. Do you know what the answer is? Okay. Can I do the answer here, and then you can get a Band-Aid? Yeah. Okay. Oh, we got Grace Lane wants to share. Okay, Grace. Hold on. We're trying to rephrase our confidence in our answers. If you're asking me a question, then I have to say yes or no, right? Or you could just tell me what it is. Yeah, but it's actually a tennis court. Well, they said tennis court, but it's more like handball. Aha, that did exist. But it was played secretly underground because the nobility didn't like it. But yes, good answer. This is called the tennis court oath, and this is pretty important. The third estate delegates of the Estates General declaring themselves the National Assembly. This is also the creation of the National Assembly in the tennis court oath to declare their need for a constitution, which would be the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. Right? Right. Gus, I almost stole your computer charger. You're lucky. Oh, no comment today, huh? I forgot about it, and then I realized it. Well, have a great day. Sure you'll be out to help with the windscreen, right? No comment. That's fine. Bye. Sorry, we had a little visitor here. All right, let's go to image number 3. Some of you maybe celebrate this by eating nice beignets and having some champagne and maybe waving around flags. Vince? Don't move. Moving. Here, this Band-Aid. Go to the restroom. Okay, let's get a Zoomer to participate. What's going on here? Say it rear out. Loudly. Who wants to do it? Anybody? No one on Zoom wants to participate? Hannah.
Wasn't it the fall of the prison, the Bastantine? Or the, is that how you say it?
Yes, you're very close. Thus, it's, yeah, it is actually. The storming of the Bastille. Aha. Raise your hand if you got that right in the room. Couple people. Okay, it's good. Griff dog, where are you at? That's good. Raise your hand next time when I say raise your hand. All right, so July 14th, 1789. Bastille Day. It's on your calendar. Look at it. Celebrated all over the world where the French Empire destroyed other cultures and civilizations and made people speak French. So this is a major sign that Louis the 16th, that's XVI, you want to see that, was in trouble. They called the birth of the revolution. What did he write in his hunting journal that day? Nothing. That's sad. Shows you he was not very connected, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not like he had the Insta photo or anything to show him that it happened, you know? Okay. Let's go number 4. Oh. Wow. Jasmine, you got a guess on this one? No? You've already gotten your opportunity. Okay, somebody in class here. Yes, Nathaniel Wilson. Marie Antoinette is correct. Queen of France, wife to Louis XVI, seen as distant to the people and frivolous. Her nickname, remember? Madame Deficit. 15th child of Maria Theresa of Austria and the Holy Roman Emperor Francis. Francis. We use colloquial terms. If anyone's bored and you want to go to a website and see the disturbing images of the Habsburg family, you put in like Habsburg.org, something like that. It shows you all their crazy chins from like 1400 all the way to 1900. It's really bizarre because they inbred so much. Vince, you shut the door. Thank you. All right, let's go to our next image. You see the actual name of this and the meaning behind it. This is a good did you pay attention question. Yes, you. You want to share? You just said something randomly out loud. Well, do you want to share? Okay, yes. What do you think it is? The tricolor. Yes. What does it mean? Oh. Anybody? We talked about this on the vid yesterday. Anybody want to go for it? What does it mean? Anybody on the Zoomers, remember? Yeah. Close. You're close. We got another of the chat function over here. Who's chatting with us? I don't. Oh. Huh. Whoa. Okay. So red and blue stand for the ancient colors of Paris, and white was the original House of Bourbon. So what is happening? The citizens of Paris are sandwiching the House of Bourbon. Do you get that, Samuel? Good. All right, let's go to our last one. Whoa. You saw this guy on the street, you'd probably walk the other way. Unless you were Vince, and you'd probably ask him to play video games with you. That was a joke, bud. Come on. What? I know, it's bad. Not supposed to laugh, though. No one ever laughs at my jokes. Now people are laughing all of a sudden. I must be on a roll today. Holy cow. I'm just trying to think about the fact that I got to teach to an empty classroom for the next 6 weeks, okay? Yeah, please. Please do. Yeah, anybody who got a guess on this one? Anyone on the Zoomers? You gotta use the hand share raise thing. Lily Dole. Never a dull
Is
moment.
it Robespierre?
Robespierre was a much finer looking man than this. In fact, I would call him, I don't know, I'm not going to even say that out loud. Brooke, what do you think?
Is it Marat?
Oh, Jean-Paul Marat. Yes. So, Jean-Paul Marat was the radical who called for the killing of many people. Lily, you were close. I was just messing with you. You're close. And he, as we go on here, he's going to continue to call for more and more heads in his newspaper. We didn't completely get to him, but I wanted you guys to get an idea that he was this kind of like low-class guy who started a newspaper and started to gain traction. And when you have revolutions, that can happen, you know? Yes, sir. Yeah, just right at the end. Yeah, he had that medicinal bath thing. That'll come back again. One of the more classic paintings in art history here. All right, so we're gonna move on. I fixed the. I think I fixed the YouTube so that you on the Zoomers got to stay with us today. Okay, is that fair? Okay. Everybody in the room, if you want a packet that they got yesterday, Ethan's gonna grab them. I mean, you're gonna have to stand up. Oh, that desk. You got the bad desk. You got the trench warfare desk. Okay. It's got one too many bombs hit on it. All right. Raise your hand if you guys want a physical copy of this. I think your best bet probably is to just let people pass it around. You know what I'm saying? Yep. All right. I'm going to stop this share for a second. Y'all get your guides out. Oh, I got another question. What? I don't know. 30. What? You're all right, man. No, you wouldn't. We're all in this together. We're all fighting the same pandemic together. Remember that. I think we got right to 35, didn't we? Oh, we got to the fish ladies about to. Oh yeah, our the women about to just go in and. Oh, this is exciting. This stuff. Okay, one of the things you got to remember, those on Zoom and those in the classroom. Coolest thing about this documentary is it has a lot of art in it. I'm a big fan of art. AP likes to use art. So you're seeing a lot of primary sources here and pieces of art, all right? Okay, I know there's some like history people that interject and there's some kind of goofy scenes, but it's actually, again, some of it is primary source. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure in the first 20 seconds or so that the Zoomers can hear it. So I am looking at Brooke right now and Hannah. The two of you will give me a thumbs up if you can hear it clearly, okay? Cool? Yeah? All right, great. I just changed the setting on the speaker. We'll see.
News of the king's offensive party circulates through the crowd. Soon, thousands are marching to Versailles, pikes and guns in hand. The women are taking their complaints to the king.
The core of the crowd was made up of the famous Poissade, the fearsome fish ladies
All right.
of the central markets, who were known for their brawny build and their fearlessness. They were equipped with large knives for scaling fish. They were hugely muscular because they carted boxes. You didn't want to tangle with these ladies.
Don't mess with these
Women
women.
of the poor quarters.
The
These
poor.
are poor women that are affected by the increased price of bread, by the scarcity of products, who suddenly begin to realize that they must act. It is quite extraordinary how these ordinary women, probably most of them couldn't even write their name, suddenly act as the protagonists of the historical process. Inside the palace, word of the approaching crowd of angry women reaches the Queen's chambers. Legend has it that it is at this moment that Marie Antoinette utters the most famous line she never said.
Marie Antoinette did not say, "Let them eat cake." That is a myth. Marie Antoinette, unfortunately, probably never even noticed the poor people of her country long enough to make such a statement.
As the mob of women gathers outside the gates, Louis understands that the revolution can no longer be ignored. It is being brought to his front door. He agrees to sign the Declaration of the Rights of Man, and the crowd continues to grow throughout the night. By morning, 20,000 people camp outside the royal palace. To close the centuries of distance between the king and his subjects, the angry mass demands that the king and queen move to Paris. Indecisive as ever, Louis is weak to respond. His hesitation would provoke a fury in the crowd and put the lives of the royal family in grave danger.
But when they don't get instant compliance with what they want, it really looks as if they're going to massacre the Queen.
A wave of women break into the royal palace screaming for the blood of the Queen. They massacre the guards, decapitate, and impale their heads on pikes.
They look like banshees screaming throughout the palace. Give me her entrails, give me her head. I want a leg, I want an arm. I think that if they had grown so frenzied that if they had encountered her, they probably would have torn her to pieces.
Terrified for her life, Marie escapes to Louis's apartments only moments before the women break into her chambers and tear the bed to shreds. The king and queen are now at the mercy of the mob. What the mob wants is a little attention from their king.
The only way the women can be pacified is for the royal family to agree to go to Paris, because once they're there in Paris, then they can ultimately be made to do what the people of Paris want.
They march 60,000 strong, leaving Versailles with carts and wagons overflowing with flour from the king's storehouses, flanking the royal carriage all the way to Paris.
What? La reine ont été, the king and queen were forced to go back to Paris with the heads of their guards who had been massacred in the chateau. Ils avaient été massacrés dans le château. Their heads had been cut off. This is really a completely unbridled violence. Dogs and they shaved the heads were then hung up with makeup and paraded at the head of the cortege with the king and queen following.
The king and queen must make their new home in the Tuileries Palace.
Get the heck out, right?
They will never see Versailles again.
Once the royal family moves to Paris, they are the prisoners of Paris. They know it. Everybody else knows it. There are great limits to what they can do or even dream of doing. They are the prisoners of the capital city. It's no doubt.
Versailles is abandoned, and the assembly moves to Paris. Power is now with the people. France will have democracy, new laws, and a remarkable and unforgiving form of justice will make its debut on the revolutionary stage: the guillotine. May 1791. Nearly 2 years have passed since the royal family and the National Assembly have moved to Paris. Robespierre appears frequently at the Assembly and at the Jacobin Club, a debating society named for the former Jacobin monastery where they gathered. Now, words are the very core of the revolution, and Robespierre speaks with an unfailing moral compass. His true north is always the people. He soon earns the nickname the Incorruptible. France is now a constitutional monarchy, the king forced to share power with the revolutionaries in the Assembly. But it seems Louis's share is growing smaller by the day, as he is forced to sign law after law diminishing his own authority, and that of the other great feudal regime, the Catholic Church. Louis decides the time has come to escape the confines of the new republic and mount a campaign to reclaim his kingdom.
Louis had decided by 1791 that he needed to regain control of his country, and he knew he could only do that with the help of a foreign army. So the idea was to make a break from the Tuileries Palace and to head for the nearest border.
June 21st, 1791. The king and queen disguise themselves as servants, and by cover of darkness, slip out from under the watchful eye of Paris. They make an ill-planned run for freedom. It is long past midnight when the royal family arrives in the small town of Varennes, some 100 miles east of Paris. They are close to the border of Austria, safety just a few miles away. But their dash to freedom will go no further. Rumors of the royals' journey have preceded them to Varennes. A town official stops the carriage, demanding their passports. The official's suspicions are confirmed. It is the signature of the king himself. The townsman is overcome at the sight of his king. But revolutionary guards nearby show no reverence for the fleeing royals.
He keeps hoping that people will recognize him and there will be a kind of rebellion in his favor. And much to his horror and surprise, they are not ecstatic to recognize him. They see him as escaping, and basically he's arrested and taken back to Paris.
The idea that the monarch had tried to abandon his people was psychologically catastrophic. That event really broke the bond between Louis and his subjects. Now they had not only a king who was superfluous, they had a king who was obviously a traitor as well.
With the royal family official turncoats to the revolution, power shifts from Louis, now a prisoner king, to the revolutionaries at the Assembly. At the very heart of the young revolutionary government is Robespierre. He shines at the podium, calling for liberty, equality, fraternity. He demands universal suffrage and an end to slavery in the French West Indies. And most passionately, he rails against the death penalty, because in the new age of enlightenment, Robespierre wants to discard all remnants of the medieval past. Europe had inherited a macabre repertoire of execution techniques from the Dark Ages. Unremitting the cruel deaths by drawing and quartering, hanging, drowning, and burning at the stake.
Under the old regime, there was a whole panoply of very gruesome punishments. And decapitation was punishment reserved for the nobility. And one of the things that the revolution wanted from the start was to have everybody equal in death. They wanted symbolically to have the same punishment available for anyone.
Despite Robespierre's opposition, a new killing machine takes center stage in Paris. Physician-inventor Joseph Ignace Guillotin devises a ruthless beheading machine, turning old-fashioned decapitation into a humanitarian experience. Dr. Guillotin describes his new device to the Assembly.
The mechanism falls life on you. The head flies off. Blood spurts. The man is no more.
Always a supporter of bloodshed, The journalist Marat prints an enthusiastic rant in his paper, announcing the device's new name, guillotine. It will soon earn a nickname, the National Razor.
National Razor.
The French revolutionaries believe in humane values. They believe that unnecessary suffering should not be caused. And what they like about the guillotine is that it is quick, it's efficient, and as far as we can tell, although no one has returned to tell the tale, it's painless.
The guillotine will silence the revolution's internal enemies, anyone suspected of plotting to return Louis to the throne. But it's the enemies surrounding France that most preoccupy the assembly. There is a fear that members of the extended royal family who fled to Austria will launch an armed counter-revolution. The assembly calls for a preemptive attack, a declaration of war on Austria. But Robespierre argues against it.
Robespierre is one of the lonely voices who is opposing war because he thinks the enemy will win. Robespierre is afraid that the country isn't ready, hasn't got an army that would be able to defeat the enemy. The enemy might therefore come in and destroy the revolution.
Robespierre loses the debate. In April 1792, the Assembly declares war on Austria against a country ruled by Marie Antoinette's own family. The nationalist fervor grows. If Austria defeats the revolutionary army, Louis will undoubtedly reclaim his throne. And Marie is suspected of aiding the enemy by corresponding with her relatives in Austria, giving away French troop movements with the stroke of her pen. All the while, the king and queen feign adherence to the revolution.
Louis and Marie Antoinette are playing a double game. They are seeming to go along with the revolution many times, at the same time as they are conspiring against it. They are trying to survive. If you want to be generous, they're survivors. But if you want to be, look at it from the revolutionary point of view, is they're liars.
With the French army already suffering huge losses on the border, word reaches Paris that Austria's ally, Prussia, has joined the invasion. The enemy troops are mobilized under the command of the Duke of Brunswick, a Prussian general. Tension pervades the streets of Paris. Then, the newspapers print a letter to the Duke of Brunswick, a manifesto threatening the destruction of Paris if any harm comes to their royal majesties, the king and queen. This guided threat wildly backfires. August 10, 1792, 27,000 armed citizens, fueled by indignant rage, head to the Tuileries Palace and fall upon the king's guards in a savage attack. At the end of the day, over 800 from both sides are dead. The king flees to safety in the assembly, but the monarchy is no more. Louis is officially stripped of his title. The French Republic is born. The blade of the guillotine is christened with the blood of Louis's remaining guards. And Robespierre, once a staunch opponent of the death penalty, has had a change of heart. The birth of the new republic can only begin with the death of a king. Dr. Guillotin's chilling new device hangs over Paris like a warning, a penalty for defying revolutionary law and order. Freshly christened with the blood of the king's guards, it will soon put an end to the king himself. By August 1792, with the king deposed and the royal family secluded in the Temple prison, Robespierre and his Jacobins are locked in a battle with the moderates of the Assembly, the Girondins, for control of the national government. And on the streets of Paris, a new political movement takes hold. As a symbol of their rejection of aristocratic tradition, ordinary citizens refuse to wear the knee breeches or culotte of the aristocrats. They call themselves the sans-culottes, those without knee pants.
The sans-culottes considered themselves the true
Sans-culotte.
people of France. They were not the poorest of the poor. They tended to be fairly well-off artisans, shopkeepers, people like that. But they were people who at least claimed to work with their hands, not wearing the breeches, not wearing the...
All right, let's take a quick pause. All right, so those of you Zoomers out there, the green button is you think the king is guilty. The red button is you think the king is innocent. The go slower button is you're incapable of making a decision. Or you want to argue you're not sure. Or you are thinking. Go ahead. We're looking at it on the screen right now. Everyone in class, you have to vote one way or the other as well. So, those of you that think the king is guilty and thus should be killed, raise your hand. We'll look around. Everyone does that. What do you do? Like heads up 7 up here. Everyone would put their head on the desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 yeses in the room. How many no's? Raise them high. Okay. Did you vote, Ethan? You got to in one go slower. Okay. Here we have all yeses. Kimberly Aiken. What you doing? Hello. Jill. Do you have a vote, Jill? Are you there, Jill? Oh, green. So, wow, we got a ruthless group of people here. 22 yeses, 1 no, and 1 not sure, and 1 no response. All right, Nathaniel, play devil's advocate for us. Oh, so 23 to 1. So Wilson here says that he thinks Marat and maybe Robespierre should be, not as much Robespierre, just Marat. But he wants to read his response now. Go ahead.
So basically,
Wait, is it basically or just not basically? I'm sorry. Come on. We're working on this in tennis too. The whole team is. Just the straight answer.
all right. So definitely,
Yeah.
when like the king's guards, a lot of the time when the king's guards killed the citizens of France, the king never ordered them to do that. It was just either there was like a mob, and so the guards were defending themselves, or I don't even know. But it wasn't ever the king, and sometimes the king wouldn't even learn about it until a couple days after because Versailles is so far away.
Okay.
And when the king fled from his country, have we learned about that thing where they tried to go to church and then they're like the church is bombarded?
Yeah. No, I mean they don't say it here, but it happened.
Well, anyway, they're being terrorized by their citizens. So they like you would run too if they were afraid they were going to die. A lot they did live like a lavish life, but a lot of that was because like they represent the country of France, so they have to like put on a facade of greatness so that like for other countries.
Facade, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Also, the lack of food was not caused by the king; it was caused by a bad winter and like a lack of rain. And then the riots didn't help that at all. It wasn't really the king at all.
All right, so Nathaniel's main argument is that it wasn't the king's fault. It was a lot of circumstances that were out of his control. Okay, does anyone want to give the other side of that argument in definitive nature? Why the king should be killed to basically continue this revolution? Anybody? There were 22 of you that said he should be killed. Yes, Lucy, you got to yell loud.
Okay.
Oh, my. He said basically. You said twice. Just go with it. Be confident.
I'm confident that he should be killed because yes, I know that like it. Okay,
That like? Come on.
I'm so sorry. Anyways.
Wait, now you're apologizing for answering?
You're getting
Come
on
on.
her. Let her talk.
I'm trying.
Okay, so I know that like in
Oh.
Vegas,
Yes.
should I just not answer?
No, answer. You're right. If you're getting threatened.
Okay, so if we get it like that, like yeah, like some people leave, but like you're the leader of the country, like you can't just like really leave, you know what I mean? Like if you're the ruler of the country, like okay, I'm just gonna say
No. Keep going. We're listening.
no.
It's hard. If you're the king of the country, what? What's your responsibility? Okay, so leaving is treason, right? You're a traitor.
No. He's guilty. He's guilty. There's no way that he's innocent for that.
Okay. Strong argument. If you're caught leaving your country, you are a traitor, and there's only one way to punish a traitor, and that's with death.
Is anybody on the Zoom call with me?
Everyone on the Zoom said that they should be killed too. Vincent, make it quick.
I want to add to that point. If you're supposed to be leading a country, the fact that you were trying to get out of such if you're leading a thing and you don't want to be part of the thing, you shouldn't be leading said thing if you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that I'm with you, but on the other hand, it got to the point where he had no power. There was, like, and for example, I think you're trying to say that if he had a chance to step down, he should have just relinquished his power. But on the other hand, I do not think that there was an opportunity to do that.
Like, it's like, oh, if, like, let's say we had a teacher, but that teacher didn't want to be a teacher at all. He wanted to go be a construction worker. He shouldn't be a teacher because then he obviously doesn't care to be a teacher. He's like, if every day you come into class and he's like, oh, I don't want to be here. I want to go work on buildings.
Was that his choice though?
Okay.
Because his grandfather died, so he had no other choice but to be go. They really had a choice to go take something else.
That's the counter argument is he was born into this situation. Let's get a Zoomer just because they've had their hands up patiently. Hannah Hiddle, what do you think? I'll come back to you.
You guys are talking about, like how he was born into this, and I understand that because like that's his duty, but at the same time, even if he didn't want to do it, that's no good reason to just like disregard his people. Like it's his people whether he likes it or not, and the way that he was treating them and just taxing them and just essentially just like not caring for them, I don't think is very reasonable. Even though like in just hearing I understand the circumstances or I don't understand because I wasn't there, but like his circumstances seemed pretty harsh, but at the same time, that's no reason to just treat people the way that he did.
Okay. Lucy M is going to speak really loudly so the computer can pick it up. That's about, can you go 3 times louder than that?
I 100% agree with what he said. I think that this whole situation could have been avoided if he just listened to what the people were like saying. Like it's like the people's country. Like it's not fair if like one person has an opinion and like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have another one and they pick the one person's opinion. Like that's just not how countries should work. So this whole like thing could have just been avoided if he actually listened to what his country wanted and went with what they wanted.
Okay. We gotta let one more person on Zoom and then you can finish this up, okay? Lily, make it loud and fun. Dole.
Fun. Okay. I think he's guilty. He was a traitor to his people. But I also think he shouldn't be killed for it, because the entire like purpose of like enlightenment is to like not like they're having new ways of thinking, and one of their new ways of thinking is to not have like cruel punishments, or not to like, and not to believe in the death penalty, and that was one of their ideas. So I think it's kind of counterproductive, but I also think the king is guilty. He was a terrible person.
Okay, we're going to get our last argument here from Nathaniel Wilson, who's going to say it really loudly.
Okay, so I think in conclusion, we can get from this basically, the king was born into his position. He did not want to be in his position. He listened to his advisors a lot. So when he made bad decisions, it was the corrupt advisors that wanted to keep their power. And he did make some bad decisions. But most of all, did he deserve to die for making some bad decisions?
I mean, bad decisions kind of
So Nathaniel argued that is it his fault? You know, he had advisors that were telling him what to do. He really wasn't responsible for these decisions. I get it. But as we'll see here shortly, the death of the king is going to continue this and make it more popular amongst the people that want a more radical revolution. Okay, I'm just going to stop because we do have to go forward. Okay, you guys, we could have a very heated debate in here, which would be fun. Okay, but I need to get to about 4 more minutes of this in to get the next period.
The symbolism of being not an aristocrat, being an ordinary man of the people.
The Sans-Culottes seized control of Paris's city government, while the Jacobins and Girondins steer the rest of the country from the National Assembly, now called the Convention. The Convention struggles with the command of the beleaguered French army, which is swiftly losing ground to Austria and Prussia. While fighting back incursions on the border, the revolutionary government cracks down on enemies within, royalist traitors who might deliver Paris into the hands of the invaders. More than 1,000 people are arrested and herded into prison. Priests, journalists, ordinary men and women. Robespierre concentrates on the internal crisis, but his friend, the Minister of Justice, Georges Danton, motivates men young and old to join the war on the frontier. He is gregarious and loud, everything that Robespierre is not. Soon, Danton's name is heard throughout Paris.
Danton is a bigger-than-life character, a man full of life, full of bombast, tremendous drinker, debaucher, who, though he's from the educated classes himself, is a guy who, unlike Robespierre, can physically identify with the working people in a way that Robespierre simply cannot.
As the enemy closes in, Danton's fiery rhetoric mobilizes the people, inspiring many to take to the battlefront.
At one of the moments of greatest peril for the revolution, the Austrian and Prussian armies are invaded. He gets up in front of the people of Paris and shouts, "De l'audace, encore de l'audace, toujours de l'audace. Et la patrie est sauvée." Boldness, more boldness, forever boldness, and the fatherland is saved. He's really one of the people who manages to rally the country against the invader. It's an extraordinary moment.
With so many able-bodied men leaving for the front, Paris is left defenseless, its jails bursting with political prisoners. An unsettling fear floods the city. The growing mass of prisoners may be impossible to contain. Marat puts out a bloodthirsty call for revolutionary citizens to descend upon the prisons and slaughter all inside.
The foreign armies were advancing on Paris. Have they linked up in Paris with these bitter enemies of the revolutions in the prisons? Of course, then the results would have been fairly horrific from the standpoint of the people.
In the first week of September, disastrous news arrives from the front. Prussia has taken Verdun, a town on the road to Paris. The The enemy is now just miles away. The fear gripping Paris explodes. The sans-culottes break into the prisons and unleash a furious assault on the city's inmates. They will leave no traitor alive.
The sans-culottes went to the prisons, particularly the prisons where refractory priests were being held, where nobles were being held, where political prisoners were being held, and they started carrying out their own impromptu trials that were very short and that very often simply ended with slaughter.
Doesn't sound very enlightened to me.
Women are raped and brutalized. Priests disemboweled. Aristocrats hacked to pieces. In a primeval slaughter, more than 1,600 are left dead in a matter of days. When word of the September massacres spreads throughout Europe, enemies of the revolution are sickened. Across the English Channel, the London Times gives voice to the revulsion.
Are these the rights of man? Is this the liberty of human nature? The most savage, four-footed tyrants that range unexplored Africa rise superior to these two-legged Parisian animals.
That's racist.
The revolution has taken an inalterable turn. Even Robespierre understands that things have gone too far, that the people cannot manage the revolution on their own. They need guidance, an iron hand. And with the power of his words, the incorruptible rises to the forefront as the man who will guide the revolution.
Okay, so you trade one dictator for what? Another one in who? Who is that? Robes? Here. Yeah. So, again, the question is at what point is the revolution too violent? Is it unnecessary? Folks, giving you the night off. You have you will have all of chapter 24, the rest of it due on Monday. And then also you have you will have another assignment over the weekend, okay? So I would recommend getting started on that this evening, okay, if you have time. Everyone cool with that? Zoomers, thank you for sticking around. It's very difficult to have multiple conversations at the same time. 55:26. I need to write that down. All right, have a good day. Bye. Bye. All right, hold on. I need to spray down your desk. Don't run out of here, please.